Um, First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. I have to say that uh, these perps do whatever they need to do to create this fantasy of a reality, and I put that in their face. They're low life, they're trash, and they're even creating other people's stories to try to make me acceptive of their fantasy of what they want this thing to be, instead of what the reality of what they're part of, what they do, and the nastiness that they know and enjoy to do. It's fun for them. I understand why. It empowers them, it makes them feel like gods, but they're just trash. It's funny how they try to tell me I'm nobody, I'm nothing. I'm like, I'm telling you, you like somebody who you know who's nothing, you're trash. The question is like, it's not about me at this point. It's like, do you think you think you respect yourself? Life for you, for these perps, has been consisting of rewiring reality. And reality comes to their face and embarrasses them. That's why I'm here. Listen, what's happening to us is we're test subject. There's technology that is surreal in regard of how sophisticated it is. They play us human beings like we're objects, because this technology can alter your brain and your body in so many ways. And the government is using human beings as test subjects, as samples, to continuously perfect this technology that's weaponized. I understand the reality of what it is. They create these fantasy stories. They have these clowns that play these games, right? But these clowns, what I say is like, you shouldn't be playing this game in front of me. And I'm not an aggressive human being, but I know the reality of what you're part of. You can create the stories, but reality is here. Reality is there. I'm not gonna let you escape. They wanted to paint this disgusting psyop that I swear, what they involved in, they deserve death. Not from me, but something needs to happen to them. And I'm sure one day, whatever that thing is, it will happen. I ask God to give me strength to not even get my hands dirty with this trash. They will get theirs, however it comes to them, however it's meant to be. In the meantime, I just have to be thankful to God. I know my imperfection, I know who I am, and I never identify with these manipulations. But please understand, if we see each other, and if I'm able, I will be vocal, understanding that you're a piece of low-life trash, an opportunist, that I have recreated reality in ways that's disgusting. Listen, these perps have tried to make this facade of like, we're avenging, we pay, you pay. She wants justice. And they're talking about, most of the time, about me when I was a child. When I was a kid around that age, as a child in middle school, I did this dumb thing that was impulsive. Matter of fact, it was so impulsive that I don't even remember. It just went away, in the sense that like I completely, a child can do something stupid and just not think about it again, and that's it. Just never comes back in their brain. That's what happened. It's funny, even today they're like, oh yeah, how convenient. It's like, no. It's like saying, I remember like a kid just throwing a rock at some rock, and it doesn't even phase. Like, it goes away, never think about it ever again. Now, of course, what I did is not throwing a rock. I did, as a child, what I did was inappropriate, but in a way that they try to exaggerate now, but what a child is capable of doing, what a developing brain of a child is capable of doing, the impulsiveness of a child, which the brain is still kind of growing up. It's funny, like some of my coworkers have children the same age, right? Now I would look at him, it's like, imagine they say that what's happening to your brain now is like, we're making your brain the brain of your child, but you at the age of your child, and somebody try to convince you that's why this makes sense. They're clowns. But going back to what I did as a child, it's something that they've tried to exaggerate. They wish I molested a child, they wish I raped a child. It goes to another level. And today they try to present themselves like, nah, this person wants justice. She wants justice. She's like, she doesn't even know who I am. Me as a child, I was an older kid, don't even remember that. And well, I didn't remember that because it was just such an impulsive moment. It never happened again. Now, her for sure, she doesn't, they try to exaggerate that thing. You see, I follow her on Instagram for the sole purpose because this trash wanted to live this deluded reality where, oh, she's traumatized, she destroyed her. No. Matter of fact, let me send her a message saying that, hey, this is this and that, and stay in communication with her because I don't want this trash to live this fantasy. Where these shits are involved in a program where they literally torture children in so many fucked up ways, in these horrible ways. And all of a sudden, this shit involving a program that traumatizes, damages children and do all these horrible things and with the rage. Yeah, right. The rage is that you're humiliated by reality. That you're involved in something that does traumatize children, does damage children for life. And you try to hold on to something to make yourself believe that you're this brave adventurous and you're trash ass. You dare to be involved in a program that literally torture children, babies. And then play like, oh, wait for this, will you pay? And they play this clown-like tonality because what I deal with is V2K, voice to score, is this technology that pipes in voices in your brain, right? Using those voices, they interact with you. They have no shame. They have no shame. I think it's because one is the whole ecosystem is going to try to create this psyop, and on top of that, a lot of it is going to be done remotely, the interactions. So they can play these clowns, make themselves angry. Oh, pay. Now, like I said, I follow this person. I'm not going to show. I'm going to blur that picture, but she's living her life, enjoying life as a young adult that she is. She's about close to 30 years old. She's here living life. Matter of fact, today they stimulate me. They stimulated me and create this sensation stimulation now it mattered to you as a kid. She's like about to be 30 years old. And on top of that, they stimulate me one way or another. I'm like, I know you guys are going to force me to get stimulation. And that's what you guys do. It's so nasty, but that's what they do. And they're like, no, but remember you felt like that when you saw it. It's like, no, you're forcing me to have this thing to give me the stimulation. And they do that sometimes to like random people. Just random black women. It's like, no, but you see, that's what you're going to do. And they try to make me accept it. Matter of fact, I've seen her before pictures, before like they start doing the rewiring my brain. I was like, oh, look at her, she's all grown up. And I was like, oh gosh, they give me stimulation sensation. Wow, we mapped it. It's trash. But the reality is she's living her life, enjoying herself. And that's life. I know that I'm not even impacting her life, of course. But this trash who torture children, who've come up with stories. It's like, no, she does this job because of that and this and that. I'm like, oh God. They even make me imagine her talking to a therapist and doing some. It's like, you see, she's traumatized. She doesn't even know me. She doesn't care about me. She doesn't think about me. She doesn't even. And I'm the one trying to talk to her. They even try to make me think of a story of this woman. That when she was a kid, she was molested by some older kids, right? The story that they want me to imagine, have done. But when they exaggerated things, and this woman obviously talks about how sad it was. It's a sad story. And they try to make me imagine this is her. It's like, no. You just try to put that to the extreme. So you can make yourself believe, oh, no, she's so traumatized. She's not. She's living her life. You just try to make her this like traumatized being when she's out here living her best life. And you're like, no, nah, pay trash, you a bunch of low-life trash who even use other people's story to implant in my head to make me imagine this storyline that you've put together. While the reality of what they do to children is like that.
Miss Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan, and please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
Damaged psychologically and physically. They do these horrible things to kids.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister, who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward.
So you get the point. The torture of children is something they do commonly. The whole family can be tortured.
And have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. Appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
Okay, so let me just bring up what they try to do. These perps involved in a program where they torture and damage and torture and torment children as young as 3-week-old are so enraged for this inappropriate act that they continuously exaggerate of what I did when I was a child in middle school, while these trash are literally suffocating 7-year-old autistic children. Now, for me, if we see each other, they know that I'll see them for what they're involved in. It's funny, every time I say that, I now pay, try to block in this thing. So, before I bring up the torture of children that this program does, and they involve in this program, I'll never let this shit live that fantasy. Target individual, these perps have no shame. They could literally be involved in a program where they are literally killing 3-week-old babies. And look at you, oh no, pay what you did as a kid. And then start coming up with stories. No, we're doing it for her justice. For she wants justice. Really? Trash us. You think she wants justice from people who torture children? Fucking low lives. And she's out here living her life. The only reason why I'm following her is because these trash want to lose themselves in this fantasy, which they stimulate me. Living her life. Try to create in my head, now this and this happens. Like, no. I know she has no recollection of me as a person. I'm literally the one trying to talk to her. Because I don't want this shit to live their fantasy. And today what's happening when I see her? Oh, the stimulation they make me have. They force me to have stimulation toward her, to try to counter her. You hear the noise campaign. There's this clown trying to like... The gimmicks. Now, I'm ready for whatever horror I'm going to go through. God give me strength for it. I will need all the strength. But one thing is for sure, I will never let this low life involve in a program that tortures children and live that fantasy. Can you imagine torturing babies and be like, oh yeah, you're going to pay? And then when I see her, you know what they do?
Monarch-style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you, then use your libido to get back at you, and
so they use the libido to stimulate me toward this kid. She's an adult, about to be 30 years old. But the reason why they do that, so it's like, no, well, we mapped it to you when you were a kid. It's like, no, trash. That's what you make me experience. And by the way, I remember seeing her right before August 19, 2019, on a picture with her whole family. And I remember the feeling, I was like, oh my gosh, they're all grown up. Oh, I remember now they give me the stimulations, like now we mapped out like that when you were a kid. And they give me stimulation of all sorts, playing with my sexual arousals. And every time they do that, they start pounding on the ground as if it's going to make me accept these manipulations. They have no shame. This trash out here torturing babies, killing them. Or damaging them at least. Then we are the rage. Now you pay. Fuck. Piece of shit that torture babies. Go. You know what you deserve is. And now they even take stories of extreme things that children have done to try to make me acceptive of that. Bringing this woman who, when she was a child, was molested by another child. They try to make me imagine that. That's what I did. Trash. To create the stories. When the reality is not that we never went to that level. But I did something inappropriate that a child at that age can easily do. It will never be to the extent they wish it was. That's what they're taking out of people's stories. And think that if they say, oh, now you pay, now you pray, I'm gonna be like, hey, these people are not involved in the program that torture children. I already starved to death and I already die in hell. Than be involved in something that can do so much damage to children and then create this fantasy of a reality. Oh, I'm a mama cop. Oh, protect my kids. Trash, you're involved in a program that literally torture children. And you think that if you repeat something, it's going to change reality? Motherfucker, if you see me in person, I swear to God, you'll know reality.